It is almost bedtime.
At first, the sun is on the right. You can see that it is not in the window. Then it somehow appears in the window.
Peppa and George are just finishing their supper.
According to the fact that Mummy Pig has given everyone food, but there is still some pasta left. They will have to eat this pasta pot for a week. Do they know you can cook less than a full supply of pasta at once?
Oh, sorry. I'm a bit tired. It's been a long day.
In the 3 seconds it took Daddy Pig to say something, Peppa had eaten her pasta.
But it's almost your bedtime.
Where's the Daddy Pig sitting on the left?
But you must come in when we call you for your bath.
You didn't notice, but the sun is animatedly setting in the window. Probably the entire budget of the episode was spent on that minor detail.
Look, George. Lots of muddy puddles.
What kind of reaction did she expect when she told George that there are lots of muddy puddles in front of him that he can already see? Peppa jumps in a muddy puddle, but stays clean.
George loves jumping up and down in muddy puddles.
Peppa walks through the muddy drops that George has splashed, but still stays clean. Peppa just stepped in the puddle and got muddy. There's so much mud pouring out from underneath them. It's more like a sewer pipe burst under them.
George! Buff!
We found the biggest muddy puddle in the world.
No.
Wait, why does George with his mouth open have teeth and Peppa doesn't? They forgot to pick up their shoes.
Are you and George feeling sleepy?
The door that was always on the left is missing.
Before bedtime, Peppa and George have their bath.
The bathtub doesn't make bubbles. Don't you think it's weird that Peppa's parents are sitting with washcloths on both sides of their chairs? If anyone had a bath like that when they were a kid, write in the comments.
Before going to bed, Peppa and George brush their teeth.
Why did they fill the sink with water? And the sink was just standing very close to the bathtub. And now, the bathtub is nowhere near it. The blanket moved away on its own, when her arms and sleeves lengthened, and George just hit his head on her bed.
Peppa goes to bed, she always has her teddy tucked up with her. When George goes to bed, he always has Miss
Daddy Pig appears in one shot. The animators were too lazy to draw him moving there.
Are you feeling sleepy now?
No, Daddy. We need...
Peppa's legs change length and there are books that weren't there before.
Now, which book do you want?
Now one small book has become a huge stack of books.
I'll read you the Red Monkey book.
Peppa and George like...
Where did he get the chair from?
And soon he fell fast asleep. Good night, Red Monkey.
He didn't read the last page. Do you think Peppa sleeps comfortably with 2 books cuddled up?
Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig are going to watch some television.
That light from the TV remote can only be seen by the cameras. It proves that the whole cartoon is just a stage show, and they're being filmed now.
And it looks as if it is bedtime for Mummy and Daddy.
These 2 windows are in the same room. I wonder what windows on the first floor lead to the kitchen.
Peppa is waiting for her best friend, Suzy Sheep.
I wonder what that room with the blue walls is. Did she open the door without a key?
Hello, Suzy. Hello, Peppa.
Suzy Sheep has come to play with Peppa.
The door closed on its own.
George wants to play too.
She reaches for the cube, but she pulls out a hat.
Peppa and Suzy love playing in
Someone on the animation team thought the book has a square shadow, but the cube has a round shadow.
Peppa's bedroom.
No, George. This game is just for big girls.
In her opinion, only big girls can wear the Joker hat.
Peppa and Suzy want to play on their own.
Joker's hat disappeared while Peppa was getting her wand. Where are they now? I mean, they've obviously gone somewhere in the 3rd dimension where they shouldn't be. The Joker's hat is back.
No, George.
Check out this beautiful animation of Suzy getting on.
No, George. I played
These games before!
I'm making chocolate chip cookies. Someone needs to lick out the bowl.
You can just use the dishwasher. The handle of the toy basket goes through Suzy's neck. I'm surprised she didn't strangle herself. Don't you think her arms are too long? What if...
I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. But who's
How did she change her clothes in 3 seconds?
George?
George and the plate cast the same shadow, even though the plate is transparent.
So does George.
Take a big breath in, then cough. I think your heart's a bit loose. How about a plaster on it?
I can understand her going to treat his heart problem with a plaster, but how is she going to treat a severed arm?
Meh. Open wide, please.
She pulled a thermometer out of nowhere.
Suzy takes George's temperature.
His mouth doubled in size from frustration. George's ear crease disappears.
Oh dear.
In the previous scene, she held the thermometer the other side. They built doorways so low that Daddy Pig has to bend over to get through them.
Can the patient have a visitor?
Just for a little while. Cookie!
Who painted 3 stripes on the blue wall? By comparison, this wall originally looked like this. George takes a bite out of a cookie, which causes a lot of crumbs to fall around, which, by the way, will just disappear into thin air. But he ends up with a perfectly even bite.
That tickles.
What was that sound?
I think I need lots of cookie.
Next to the cookies was George.
Meh.
They're shaking the house from eating the cookies. Look how beautifully animated George's laughter is.
Mummy Pig.
I don't care if they have a house with ceilings 5 meters high. They are rich and have the right to build what they want. But what's the blue stripe? The only explanation is that they have a crack in their roof from which you can see the sky.
Daddy Pig has made Mummy Pig breakfast in bed.
Happy birthday, Mummy Pig.
Peppa and George have...
At this point, Peppa should have fallen on the tray, and the cup of hot coffee should have spilled all over the bed.
made Mummy Pig a birthday card.
Oh, what a lovely birthday surprise.
Instead of opening this card and seeing what's inside, she looks at the back of the card.
Come, enjoy.
Peppa and George disappear when the shots change.
We've just got to put the candles on. One.
He stained the cake with his elbow.
Mummy's coming.
Oh no! We need the same number of candles as Mummy's age.
Is he saying that Mummy Pig is 3 years old?
3.
Oh dear, we haven't got nearly enough candles.
No, he's just worse at maths than Peppa.
How old is Mummy?
I'll whisper it in your ear.
Wow, really old.
Why didn't he say it out loud? Is he afraid George will hear how old she is and start crying?
You know, I think 3 candles will be fine.
I have a theory that Mummy Pig turned 30 because each candle means a decade.
I think I know where the sitting room is.
They bought a music player to put on just 1 episode. Her feet are turned in the same direction as her back and tail. If anyone can do it, I won't take it as a mistake.
Mummy, would you like to have a nice walk in the garden?
There was always a TV in that spot, which they watched from the sofa, and there was no hallway behind the wall.
Do I have any choice?
Bye-bye, Mummy.
You might say, but in the other episodes, the door was on the left, not the right. But actually, the door was on the left even in this episode.
Daddy Pig,
How did they manage to hang garlands on ceilings that high? And why does the room get darker when the lights are turned on?
Peppa and George are...
He got the balloon from behind the frame. It might have been in his pocket. The animators know that things don't just appear out of nowhere in the frame. So I'm not going to take that as a mistake.
decorating the sitting room.
Because of cartoons like this, I thought you just had to inflate a balloon to make it fly. But that doesn't work, guys. There just weren't any balloons near the couch.
See you later.
The door closed by itself, and the closing sound was after the door was closed. But look at how they worked out the inertia animation of the flabby fat on Granny Pig's chin. It moves a little separately from the mouth, unlike the other characters. For such thoroughness, I am ready to forgive a door that closes itself.
Keep your eyes closed, Mummy.
All this time, we've seen animators fail at their jobs, but now it's time to listen to the wonderful work of sound engineers. It's so good for my ears to hear that.
Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes.
1, 2, 3. Open your eyes.
Where did the balloons come from under her?
Happy birthday, Mummy Pig.
Most of the balloons are hanging at one height, although they should be flying up.
What a lovely surprise.
Balloons have appeared under her again. The balloons keep flying up and up. When will they reach the ceiling?
Dress. I'm the luckiest mummy in the whole world.
And the most beautiful.
They tried.
Peppa and her family are going on a picnic.
Peppa and George don't have hands.
I love picnics.
Wait, Daddy Pig just sat in that chair in the front. No one's driving the car now?
The picnic spot is on the other side.
Daddy Pig has just taken the basket out of the seat where Mummy Pig was sitting. Was she sitting on that food? And of course, he decided not to unbuckle his seatbelt. He just jumped, and it disappeared.
We take a little boat by ringing this bell.
Would you like to...
Instead of building a bridge, or even just having dinner on this side of the river, they decided to hire Grampy Rabbit full-time to transport people on a boat that doesn't even hold a full family.
This is ridiculous.
Bye-bye, Daddy.
Don't worry!
Wait, he just moved one boat's distance in 2.5 seconds. So his speed is 0.4 boats per second. Given that the distance from one shore to the other is 3 boats, he should have gotten them there in 7.5 seconds. But it takes him 20 seconds to swim. It's so he can sing a song no one cares about to stall for time.
Picnic spot.
They didn't even try to get the plants in the same place in the close-up and the general.
Everybody off.
Thank you.
I'm fine with kids jumping a meter high instead of getting down, but Mummy Pig, she was climbing normally in the previous scene, but now she's decided to jump.
Daddy Pig.
Big Bad Wolf, don't forget to shriek.
Hello, Wendy. We're joined...
Just now they were standing in a clearing, but when the scene changes, they are surrounded by plants.
I'll come back for you.
Imagine what it's like when you come with your kids to a picnic, the first one to ring the bell, but a family of wolves come and you sit alone and hungry, forgotten by everyone.
I should really be getting back.
Cheese doesn't break that way. They made a sandwich per family member, but Daddy Pig only has to watch them eat his sandwich. In doing so, they can see and hear him. I don't think they've forgotten him. They're just messing with him.
It's Daddy's favorite.
Peppa doesn't break pieces off the cake. The cake just shrinks.
I saved you a sandwich.
She somehow managed to enlarge the sandwich that was on the plate when Daddy Pig came in.
Mrs. Duck has saved you a worm.
Ho, ho! I'll eat you instead of that worm, Mrs. Duck.
Peppa and her family are going camping.
All the episodes except this one didn't have those things on the car. I wonder if they just welded them on for one camping trip.
We're here.
The car is designed so that only small children who can fit through the window can sit in the back. Why, if they're supposed to literally jump out? The door closed by itself.
Daddy, how are you going to make that into a tent?
Firstly, he created a frame by welding galvanized square steels to extend outside.
Don't worry, Peppa. I'm an expert at camp.
But that stick is broken.
Mummy Pig, put the tent on the poles, please. That's it.
Suppose Mummy Pig has the incredible marksmanship to make the tent fall on poles like that. But how do Daddy Pig's hands get through the tent?
I forgot about the pegs.
Peppa moved to Daddy Pig in one frame. Such a small peg casts a big shadow.
Pegs, hold the tent up.
You didn't notice that just now? The animators have drawn how the arms move to her back, and only then she turned her body so that her back turns into her stomach. I don't think you turn around like that in real life.
There.
In the previous scene, that peg was standing vertically.
And your tummy has grown the most of all.
Talking of tummies, we should cook supper.
Yes!
Collect sticks for the camp.
Now they are standing on an inclined surface.
Fire.
George?
But when changing the scene, it leveled out. In half a second, she picked up such a handful of branches. This is only possible if there is a beaver dam behind the frame.
That's enough sticks.
Here, George's arms grow lower than his legs.
Now I'll light it. I'm going to make fire
He got sticks out of nowhere.
the old way by simply rubbing these two sticks together.
And no, he didn't get the sticks from the fire because the fire looks the same. It's so stupid to make a fire with sticks. Even experienced people take tons of time and attempts.
Hooray!
But Daddy Pig was able to start a fire in 13 seconds. How they love to pull random objects out of nowhere.
We're all sitting on the cold ground covered in wet grass, so I'm already freezing my butt off. How comforting. It means it's time to eat.
Yeah, he pulled out a plate that wasn't there. But what's more interesting is that he's holding the fire-hot iron handle with his bare hands.
I love tomato soup.
So do.
They gave George the same amount of food as Daddy Pig. Either they're fattening George up, or Daddy Pig is going to lose weight.
What?
In all the time the fire had been burning, the branches hadn't charred.
In you go.
I don't believe they can fit comfortably enough to sleep in that tent.
I'd rather sleep outside anyway.
Especially here. How do you envision that?
Sleeping in the open air with the stars above me.
It's pouring down without any clouds. You can even see the stars.